However, you can begin.
Okay. So today we'll be looking at sessions and cookies. We'll be looking at what cookies are, the uses of cookies on websites, and how to create a cookie or a session. And then we'll talk about the future of it and how people benefit from knowing anything about sessions and cookies. Okay, the first thing is, what are cookies? Yeah. Cookies are actually pieces of code, right? They're not really codes, but are more like um, just general description of things that have been placed into the website. More like a file that we use on the web browser. We actually create those files in order for users, for us to do several things on the website. They're not programs, actually. They do not really perform any functions. They're simply text files that the web servers use. Now, we have different types of cookies. But first, why do they call it a cookie? Um, if you have anyone that's ever eaten a fortune cookie, you see those little messages that are inside. They're like magic cookies where you break the cookie open and then you see a piece of paper inside and then probably a message there. Sometimes it can be nice messages. Sometimes messages just being passed from maybe mother to children or something like that. But it's more like a hidden message inside a cookie. So that's where the idea of the name came from, fortune cookies. Now let's look at different types of cookies. Um, we have about 6 types of cookies. The first one is session cookies. Those ones are temporary. They only keep navigation info. Once you close that tab, or the entire cookie gets deleted. Then there are permanent cookies. Many websites use permanent cookies. There's actually a law for cookies, and it's let's say 12 months latency period. You can keep a cookie in anybody's browser. So, but when it comes to permanent cookies, what they actually do is that they remember passwords and login details. Now, this may be looking like Google's way of storing your passwords and login details. This is very different from what Google does. But most websites use cookies like this, but Google has a different approach to it. So it's not the same thing. Google doesn't use cookies. Then we have flash cookies, which remain permanently and are actually independent of the browser. They sit in your hard drive. That's where the flash cookies are. So you don't see it from the browser. You can access it. You can access it from the browser actually, but it doesn't stay on the browser. You know, each browser have a particular memory allocated for it. Then we also have first-party cookies by the website that you're currently on. They are actually then they actually are for collecting analytics data, and they also remember language settings. Then we have third-party cookies. Now, when it comes to third-party cookies, we are looking at cookies that are actually installed for research purposes by a third-party site. Now, when they do this, you usually see those things that pop up on your screen. Once you get into a website, they say this website use cookies and you have to access the cookies. Then if they didn't write third-party cookies, it can be any of these other ones. Or when they write third-party cookies, just know what it's for. Many persons don't really read cookies, and that's why we do have a type of cookie that's quite dangerous, which is zombie cookie. Now, this zombie cookie, those kind of illegal, but most websites still use it. They retrieve info and continue tracking browsing websites. Why do they even call it a zombie cookie? It's because the cookie doesn't ever die. It doesn't delete. You can't delete it. Unless you wipe your entire system clean. The zombie cookie would remain. And even if you delete it, it still comes back up. That's why it's called a zombie cookie. All right, then let's look at the uses of cookies. The first use of cookies are what we have been talking about. Tracks visitors to keep their user info, such as username. When you type in your username, you find out that when you open a particular browser, you open a particular website, and then if you go to another browser and open that same website, it doesn't show. But on that same website, if you open another tab, it still shows. Even if you're using maybe 2 Chrome accounts, it's possible to use it on both accounts if you're using a universal cookie. Then for if an application, for instance, uses cookies, then the server will send those cookies and the client browser will store it. When it stores it, what does it do? You see, your web site, if you are when you are developing your website, you'll be getting the info from that cookie. You simply be picking the info from that cookie because the browser will simply send that cookie for you to interact with it, for your website to interact with it. Then we also use cookies for online shopping carts. That's why if you are browsing, you're shopping, and you close it and you come back to it, if that if that shopping website is using a cookie, it will remember all the things in your shopping cart. And if you're moving from one page to the other, it just keeps adding, it just keeps writing those different parts. So it just keeps writing to your cookie file and helps you to maintain that. Then looking at another thing, we'll talk about how to create a better using cookies, how to create a better concept of online shop stores, because not every type of cookie you can just use like that. Another thing is public information websites. I say if you visit a public website or something like that, it helps you to choose which pages you want. For instance, it may, okay, you have been to this particular website, for instance, you have been searching for several things. It will help, those cookies help you, them know, okay, look at, this is what you're actually here for. So it can also protect the website in the sense that, you know, those websites where you pay for certain things, like you pay to get into a particular page, into certain pages. Then if you have not paid, you are in a particular, this may be the free version, then there's a pro version. Now, how does this website know that you have not paid or something like that? That's another thing. You can use a cookie to do that. All they simply need to do is the cookie will tell what page you can go into and what page you shouldn't be able to go into. So it's just an interaction between the website and the cookies. Okay, then for user sessions, cookies can track user sessions and just keep the ID and the passwords and things like that. Although it's quite dangerous to do so because cookies are in public domain and are not really secure. Anyone who can, if someone can get into your system, they can get to your cookies and can know everything that you have been browsing online, everything you have been doing. In fact, that's how people find out what you have been doing online just with your cookies. Okay, let's look at the sample of a cookie since we've been talking about cookies. It's not the regular cookie we eat, it's just general. It's just the general format of it. You have the site, then there's a name. I'll just give this name here. Then the content of the cookie, the domain. Now, this content is an encrypted, this thing looks more like hexadecimal. So, or maybe a higher number-based system, or it generally stores information in encrypted form. So you can't really see it, what it is, except you decrypt it. And the websites are able to decrypt that. Then, then the path is there, then the type of connection and the expiration date. Now, the most important thing in a cookie file is the name of the cookie file. Every other thing may not be there, but the name of the cookie file should exist. We'll talk about that. So when you want to create a cookie in PHP, the most important thing is using that set cookie function. Once you use the set cookie function, you put your braces. This is the general syntax of it. You put the name, the value, the expiration date, the path, the domain, if it's secure or not, and then HTTP only. Then there's this iset function. If you want to know if the cookie is really there or the cookie is set. For instance, if somebody did not click on it, they not accept it, then you can use the iset function to know whether the person accepted the cookies or not. Now, there's some website that if you don't accept the cookies, they will simply tell you that you can't access the website. Okay, let's look at a cookie file. You see, this is a PHP file, then we have the HTML tags. The file has to be .php file. Then, if not, it won't run. We have the cookie name, cookie value. It doesn't really do this. This is just variables, but it's best in PHP to hold your data in a variable. So this is it. We set cookie, the cookie name, which is this. You can simply plug this in here, John Doe, but best to do this. And then the time, which is the expiration time. You can see this is a day, it's 6400. That's 60 seconds times 60 seconds, 60 minutes, and then that's times 24, giving it 600. And it's the cookies to last for 30 days. So that's why we have this. And okay, remember permanent cookies can only last for 1 year. So it can be 30 times 12. Then what this is just a normal HTML tags. And then if look at this PHP tag here, this is where we test if the person accepted the cookie or not. So if this is not I set, right, the cookie name, and then you simply say give the name if the thing has been accepted or not, if the cookie is set or not, right? And then you see this echo statement is just more like print statement or just general print statement, and that's it. This is just how to write a cookie file. Then you close your tags, and that's it. Then if you want to modify it, let's say you want the cookie to you want to delete the particular cookie, or you need this other file, just in case you want someone to click a button and execute this to delete the cookie. This is it. So you simply set it to a negative value. So with the negative value, it simply wipes the cookie out. That the cookie is in the past means it deletes it. That's just the idea. And then you print out that the cookie has been deleted in case someone wants to delete a cookie. Now let's look at sessions. Now, if you have ever, every time you browse, you see something like after you're done browsing, you see that once you close it and come back to that site, it's as if you have not gone to the site. Now, some websites, if the website doesn't have cookies, it usually have sessions. And why are sessions important? Let's say you want to use more than one tab at a time. The session here, you see, if you copy, let's say you duplicate the tab, it will show the same thing in one tab on the other tab. Sessions are the thing behind it. The reason why we have sessions is that web server doesn't know anything about you. It doesn't know what you do. The reason why it doesn't really know anything about you is that HTTP addresses are not stagnant. They don't maintain state. So it shifts over time. And because of that protocol that doesn't allow you to listen. The only thing you have, maybe the IP address or something like that. Then looking at session variables. The reason why we have sessions is to solve that problem, so that to store information to be used across multiple pages in case you open several tabs. It can store information like maybe username, favorite color. Let's say you want the color of a particular web page, maybe web pages that have color changing abilities and stuff like that. You can be able to change it and keep it same in different tabs. So looking at by default, the session variables, they only last until you close the browser. When you close the browser, next time you come into it, will be different. Then information is used, or we have talked about that, is used across all tabs. Now let's look at how we can use a session, and we can write a session with PHP. It's still another file too, and it's called a session file. So you simply use what they call session start. That's the function for it. And under the PHP tags, use the session start. Then in this other PHP tags, you can now choose maybe the thing that is you simply set it to what the person, maybe the user, has clicked on. Probably the user wanted favorite color to be green, or the user wanted favorite number to be cat, something like that. You simply store those information in that session. Then if the thing is set, you can simply echo out this. This is not really necessary here, but we're just writing it just in case you want to check if the thing is set. Because if you are running this, it won't show anything. This is the only way to know that something is working. It's working. If it's not working, then this would not run. That's why I kept this here. Okay. So we have talked about cookies and sections. What's the future of all of this? Because there's no point doing something that's going to be going to fade out in the future. And how can you be part of the future? In the future, there will be no cookies, right? And Google has started it. Most companies they try to change things over time, and maybe one company starts it. Um, Currently, Google is not using cookies. The reason why Google is going out of cookies because of cookies are quite dangerous in a way. It keeps your information on open space where everyone can access it. If someone gets to your system, he can check out all you have been doing without really asking you or going through your this thing. But Google just finds a way to do it better in that it stores all those information on cloud storage. It's very more protected there because cloud storage you need an access code to log into to get those information. But cookies, you don't need that. Someone sits on your system and has the access to even your hard drive or anything, you can get all the cookies out. In fact, if you go on your Chrome, if you go towards if you go into your Chrome into Chrome's storage in your system, you'll be able to see it on the hard drive where your cookies are being stored. All websites store it in the hard drive under the program data. So since Google is in forefront of taking out this personal identifiable information method, which is the cookie method, this means that everyone, marketers, anybody that's a programmer should it's like a Tron board open. Everybody can jump in and look for a better alternative to cookies. While Google is using a cloud method, they already have several methods of getting information from us, and maybe in form of artificial intelligence and stuff like that. For many other marketers are not having that opportunity to do so. So that's why they stick to cookies. Well, many persons don't like those cookie pop-ups. Okay, so when every time you go into a website, the cookie pops up and you have to accept it. Many persons don't like it, so they prefer using a different method entirely. And the thing is that nobody reads cookies, those cookie script. Like, how many times have you ever clicked on a cookie and you open it and go and check all the information? Okay, this is the kind of cookie that I have. This is the rules and stuff like that. Nobody checks those things. So it's more like something. It's more like maybe a Greek gift or something like that nature. But generally, cookies are not seen as the best option. So you have a chance to design an alternative to cookies. So that's it. This you can ask any question. Hello. I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver. Thank you for the nice presentation. At this point, we'll be taking questions. Okay, we're actually behind schedule. We can sneak in just a question, just one question from anybody. Or you can ask anybody a question if there is no question. Question for either Mohammed or we have less than a minute, so just quickly, if there's any question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so my question is for first presenter, Mr. Mohammed. So when you mentioned the issue of data ranking or data cleaning, so my question is, it may not be going out what you actually presented, but before you even rank the data or clean the data, we need to have data itself. Can you highlight maybe some best ways you can actually gather data, maybe as a small business owner, maybe a business that run a restaurant business or something like that? What is the best way you think or we can gather data so that we can be able to run with eventually?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So just to answer that quickly, getting data as a small business, say for example, you might not necessarily require secondary data. And what do I mean by secondary data? These are data that are already existing, right? You can only use that for market insight purposes, or if you want to have data specific to your business, you will then go through the route of having a primary data. And how do you source for primary data? There are different ways of sourcing